Meet with the individual that I apologize have not had him on before because I just learned that September will be 2 years he's been the town manager of the wonderful town of Smyrna, Mr. Dave Santucci. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, great, and welcome to WGNS, although this is your second time you've been on. I always like to start out with a bio. And Dave, tell us where you were born, grew up, schooled, previous city you were managing, life in itself, a Marine that I have to point out. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
But kind of give us a background, the Dave Santucci story.
Sure. So my family comes from Maryland and Massachusetts.
Wow. Okay.
And I was born in Massachusetts. Stayed there till just after the second grade. I started, we moved at the beginning of my third grade year, and we moved to Florida.
It's quite well, you got better weather.
Yeah, for sure. And my grandparents had already lived down there.
Okay, so it was following the family.
Absolutely. And so we moved down there, and I lived mostly in city called Coral Springs, Florida, for the majority of my life.
And that's on the East Coast.
It is. It's on the East Coast. It's within the Fort Lauderdale metropolitan area, but it borders the Everglades, so it's not on the coast.
Did you go visit alligators all the time?
Yeah, you don't have to visit them; they visit you.
They visit you, right? Wow. And you graduated from high school there?
Sure, yeah. I graduated from high school. And after high school, I had several opportunities for college and universities, University of Florida, Florida State University, UCF, to name a few.
Sure.
And I went to Florida State. And, I found
that...
Right
after high school?
Right after high school. I just didn't have the drive and really know what I wanted to do.
Sure.
Ended up coming back home. Still continued with education at the local community college. But honestly, 4 years later out of high school, I still really didn't know what I wanted. And
which is very, very typical today.
Yeah.
Very typical.
Yeah, it is, and it's it's one of those things where I feel like if kids these days, if they don't know what they want, they just need to continue to move forward and with whatever it is that interests them. And that's what I tell my kids. But 4 years out of high school, and I remember my dad always telling me, he said, as soon as you graduate high school, life's going to start to fly by.
Yes, and he was very, very true.
Yeah, and so I said, I'm better than this. I really want to do something with my life, and I just walked right into the Marine Corps recruiting office.
Had you considered other branches, or was the Corps?
Nope, I did not.
All right. And you enlisted and went to basic?
I did. Parris Island.
I always remember there was a major tragedy there years ago on a training mission. I think lost more than a handful of Marines on a midnight training session. It always stood out. And from Parris, you got your orders to go where?
My duty station was at Cherry Point, North Carolina.
Wow.
Wow. Coastal Carolina. So I was very fortunate.
So you stayed in the South
Yep.
With your military and spent 4 years with the Corps?
I did, yep. Combat veteran deployed to Iraq. And
okay. See, here I'm thinking you're sitting in the beautiful shores of North Carolina for 4 years, but no, they gave you a little side trip.
Oh yeah, we were the first push into Baghdad.
Wow. And at that point, you said someday I'd like to be a town manager when you pushed into Baghdad?
I didn't even know what a town manager was.
Nor did you know what Baghdad was.
No.
I'm assuming. So you got out of the Corps, and then you had a chance to make some decisions.
Yeah. Me and my wife got together while I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
But I have known her since I was probably 8 years old. Yeah.
That sounds almost like the town council Smyrna story.
Yeah.
Where a goodly portion of the town council went to the same elementary school. And I love the story that Mayor Mary Esther tells when Steve Sullivan came to elementary school, and she greeted him. I think they were both 8 years old, maybe. And she was, I think, running for mayor at 8 years old, and Steve was her constituency. So you decided at that point, after the Corps, to go back to school?
Yeah, at that point, I was able to, with my GI Bill,
Oh, sure.
I was able to finish up. I went to and graduated from Florida Atlantic University, summa cum laude, with a degree in public administration.
How did you pick public administration? And I don't ask too many people that, but since that was my field, I always wonder, and I look back, and I had gone the whole graduate to the 2 masters and a doctorate, all in PA, and I ask myself, would I have done better to go back to law school? And yet I don't regret going for my PA graduate degrees.
Yeah, so for me, when I got out, trying to figure out what I was going to do, it was really when I got out of the Marine Corps, it was at the height of the market, the real estate market.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I did not like being a real estate agent. And so I said, well, what am I going to do? And my primary MOS in the Marine Corps was supply and administration.
Wow.
So,
which could be big in purchasing.
Exactly. And that's the field I got into.
I can't refuse to see why.
So I became a buyer with a municipality down there. And
you hadn't really thought of local government, but the job came open?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. It just seemed like a right fit.
And you had a wife and some children to feed?
Yes, I did. At that point, I had my wife. My youngest was born in 2007, so we had just had her, and I went into public administration thinking that this government purchasing and contract field would be something I was really interested in, and I was.
It was a steady income, not a commission.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And the city you applied to and was subsequently hired was?
Well, I started in a small city called Coconut Creek, and then...
That's a neat name.
Yeah.
Did they have coconuts there?
Sure they do.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Ever fall on heads of residents?
No. They're known as the butterfly capital of the world.
Oh, even more so than Northern California, where the monarchs will gather in the wintertime, but...
Possibly. I don't know how you can gauge whether or not you are the butterfly capital of the world or not, but that's their claim.
You're supposed to count them, Dave.
Yeah.
That was a town manager, city manager's job, was to do a census so that you would get federal allocation based on the census of butterflies.
It's hard enough to count people, never mind butterflies.
Absolutely. So you started out with the coconut community.
Yep.
Doing purchasing,
Yep.
buying, and so forth.
Yeah.
And how long was it before you went to your next?
It was a couple of years, and a purchasing manager position came open, and I applied, and I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to get that role.
Same city?
No, different city. It was called Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Deerfield. What are they famous for?
Deerfield is a really kind of laid back, affordable coastal community.
East Coast again.
East Coast again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very diverse community, suburbs, inner city. Obviously high end along the beach. So lots going on there. But
you said when we were off air, about 85,000 people.
Yeah, there were about 86,000. Mm-hmm.
So that starts getting in the area slightly bigger than Smyrna. Did you just go over the 50,000 mark at Smyrna?
We actually just got the population estimates from the Boyd Center, and we are at 63,000.
Wow.
321.
And you've got it down, cut to the one.
Mm-hmm.
See, you can't count butterflies. You got it on the special census. What kind of growth has that been? I mean, that's even when I came to Rutherford County, joining Motlow back in 2004, I mean, Smyrna was just a little wide spot in the road.
Sure.
So you've had some massive population growth.
We have.
Of course, all the high density in and around Motlow, and when that fills up, you're going to be 75,000 before we even realize it.
I think so. And the interesting thing, we've seen some fantastic commercial development come with that. We have Seward's Landing right now, which is
Yep.
being developed. Several
Fast.
restaurants.
It's rapid. I mean, those buildings are going up, especially the standalones are going up quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've still got you in the purchasing manager at Deerfield, and from there you kind of grew through the ranks.
I did. I think, hats off to the leadership there and their mentorship, but I think they saw that I really opened my eyes to what was occurring within within my government, and I was able to kind of bring things to light and attention, and they saw that I was a big picture type of person, and they gave me more and more responsibility. No good deed goes unpunished.
But the interesting thing about that, when you say your foundation was in purchasing and buying and pricing and contracts, and yet your reputation in your nearly 2 years in the town of Smyrna is you're also very, very much a people person. So I'm trying to think, okay, you were a product contract person, but you certainly evolved as a people person, which I'm sure those in the leadership role at Deerfield
Yep.
saw in you. So from purchasing manager, you went to?
I went to assistant city manager with responsibilities in police, fire, emergency management, facilities maintenance, among some other things, and then became the assistant city manager.
Great. You had a good person to work for, a good learning mentor?
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
And he or she retired or went on to other greener pastures?
He moved on to greener pastures, and that, what they called a commission, that city commission put me in the interim role while they went out for a national search. And I honestly was a little reluctant to go after the city manager role.
Sure.
The responsibility is immense, as you know.
Oh, absolutely. How large of a commission? How many members?
5.
Oh, okay. And you were now working with 7
Now I'm working with 7.
in the town council. My last management job at Oak Hill in Davidson County had a commission of 3.
Oh, wow.
So, majority of 2 to 1 is kind of a little different than 3 to 5, or let's say 3 out of 5, or 5 out of 7, or 4 out of 7. What year was that you became city manager?
I became city manager, let's see, we're in 2000, probably it was 2018.
Wow. And was the city financially in good shape?
Yeah. Reserves are a little bit different down there. The threshold is about 15 to 20%. Luckily up here you see reserves in the range of about 30 to 50%.
Sure. And it's kind of interesting, and I used to always have to say, reserves are not just there for a rainy day, and especially at certain times, the interest rates determine a significant source of revenue for the city.
Absolutely.
Generated from the reserves, actually. I know I asked you this off the air. Hurricane management. You were on the east coast of Florida, certainly had its major hurricanes and so forth. It's pretty much escaped the biggies?
We were very fortunate to escape major storms. We had a couple that we had a couple $1 million in debris management, limbs and things like that. But again, very fortunate to not have to go through the big one. We had some scares, and I can tell you that there was many years where we would spend a couple nights at the EOC managing that, and it's the emergency management down there in Florida is highly coordinated, from the local government to the county government to the state government.
Did you have a problem with evacuations, massive evacuations, people get them away from the shore?
We did not have any situations where we had mandatory evacuations.
Okay.
We did have
in
some
your
voluntary.
entire time there.
Yeah, we had voluntary evacuations within the flood zone along the coast, but We did do transport of seniors to shelters and things of that nature.
Medical facilities evacuated or?
No, down there, they have relationships with the schools.
Okay.
And the schools are all on generator power, and the Red Cross deploys to the schools, and those
Great.
become the shelter locations.
And I think I asked this before, alligator visitors.
Yeah, I mean, it's just commonplace down there.
But the other little visitor was the
Iguanas.
iguanas. Wow.
Yeah.
You got to write a song, Iguana, go home. Iguana, go home. I'm sorry, I should be writing lyrics on the air and so forth. So when the position of Smyrna became advertised nationally, you saw it? And had you been to Tennessee before?
I'd been to Tennessee several times. Yeah,
As a visitor?
as a visitor.
Middle Tennessee, had you?
Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, taking family vacations almost once a year. We'd either be in the Nashville area or
Dollywood?
The Gatlinburg. Yep, Dollywood.
The kids were small. I do have to ask you this. You've been here almost, hard to believe, almost 2 years. Are you a country music fan?
I am. I have been for a real long time.
Actually, I'm going to say this, and probably nobody ever did, is you do look like you could have a guitar and sing.
You don't want me to do either, I promise.
No, really. I mean, you've got, and that's a compliment.
Thank you.
That you certainly could pose as sitting on or standing on the stage at Opry and so forth. So you applied for the position after you did your due diligence and your homework. The interesting thing is, did you initially look at housing costs, what it was costing you in East Coast Florida versus what Middle Tennessee, especially out of the Nashville market itself? Did you look at housing?
I did, yeah, for sure. And honestly, the cost of living here is less than where I was. So I knew that was not going to be an issue for me, at least.
And your three girls, were they all some in the public school age, or had some left the age moving on?
They were, when I left in September, my oldest daughter had started her senior year. My youngest daughter was in her sophomore year, and I had a middle schooler as well.
Wow, your three were as close as ours were. Problem for the oldest daughter to leave her senior year?
Yeah, and so we didn't.
Oh, so they stayed to let her finish.
Yep, my wife and 3 kids stayed down there. I rented an apartment, and when summer got close, we put our house on the market, and I started looking up here, and I did probably the scariest thing ever, which was pick out the house without my wife there. And and she let me.
And have the results proved positive?
We're all happy there, yeah.
Great. Well, you've been married how long at the time?
We've been married for 20 years now, just this past February. So at that time, it was about 18 years. Yeah.
And you knew her since?
I've known my wife since I was about 8 years old.
So you knew her tastes?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I always say this, going back to what you said earlier on real estate. I've always said to my friends in the real estate field, the first time you're going to show a client property, it is imperative you go to their current home and see the layout, see the spacing, see whether they have much window light space or little dark rooms, and get an idea of their tastes before you show them property.
Sure, I never heard that before.
And I think, you knew your wife's taste. And what did she say when you took her for the first time? Here, honey, here's our new home.
Yeah, it was. It certainly looks different today than when we bought it.
Sure.
We had to make it our own, and I think, I think she was very skeptical at first when she first walked in. But I had a vision of what what I wanted to see, and made sure, obviously, that we did things that she wanted to do as well, of course. And we've now made it more of our home, and that's the important thing for, I think, anybody, right? Is when
absolutely.
you move somewhere, you got to make it your own.
Absolutely. And then you started with Smyrna, You went through the whole process of the interviews and so forth. When they called you up and said, Dave, we'd like you to come to Smyrna, and they called you, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that was a very, very interesting weekend. Here's a story. We had the interview.
I'm assuming Mary Esther is listening on her way to the station. She's coming a little late, but she's going to most hopefully come here and at least say hello.
Yep, she will. She will be coming in, I believe. But interview was Friday at 9 a.m. I got in Thursday. Me and my wife. I took my wife up there. I spent the entire night sick as a dog, just so nervous. And
It wasn't a flu bug or
no,
allergy?
no, it was just nerves.
Sure.
And went into the interview Friday morning. Left
At Town Hall?
at town hall in the large conference room. Of course, you know the drill. This isn't a private interview. This is all 7 council members, staff, the public.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Is that a Tennessee open meeting law?
Yeah, it
See,
is.
California. Oh, no. I never went through it.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to take that back. I was interviewed to be the manager of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh.
And I never will forget, the mayor met me at the airport, and I saw him. He looked so familiar, and I knew I hadn't met him before. And I said, and his name was David Rusk, R-U-S-K. And he looked just like his father, who was Secretary of State under both, in Kennedy and under Lyndon Johnson. But they had, because it's a very mixed community in terms of diversity, they had 5 Caucasian, 5 African American, and 5 American Indian, Native American. And they sat in somewhat of a U, 5, 5, and 5, interviewing me. And I never will forget that. I never was interviewed by a 15-member panel.
Yeah.
But that was interesting.
Yeah.
So you were being interviewed on a Friday morning. What did you do to get well for it? Did you drink coffee? Are you a coffee drinker?
I drink a cup in the morning. Yep.
Okay.
I don't drink coffee throughout the day. I love my cup of coffee in the morning on my way to work, and that's pretty much all
Did you have that morning?
I'm sure I did.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So you went, the interview was probably, at 9?
Is it 9?
9 a.m. And you got in there, and this was the first time you went before a 7-member elected body rather than a 5-member. And neat group of folks, And so they went through the traditional Q&A. Did anybody from the staff or audience ask questions?
No, just the council.
Just the council. Were you looking at body language of the folks around you?
Honestly, I was just focused on the
focusing on
7
the
folks
7.
that I needed to convince, I guess,
You know, I always say this in teaching HR, human resources. I said, when you're in a multi-person interview rather than a one-person, even if one of the people is looking at you nodding yes, everything you say, avoid suddenly being attracted to that one person because they look like you're agreeing, and you ignore all the other remaining people. Always be sure you spread. So you finished the interview. Were you feeling better now?
Oh yeah, I was fine going into
I
it.
understand. This is not a health questionnaire.
Yeah.
David Sanstucci. I got to make sure. Health 101, WGNS. So you finished. Your wife was there. You went out to lunch.
We went out to lunch. Yep. We went to Smyrna Cafe. I'll never forget. And then went by a friend's house who lives over in Brentwood.
Oh, okay.
We were going to spend a couple days with them. And we actually, so I'm at their house, and it was probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe earlier. Same day. They said, got a call from the town attorney, and he said, hey, they want you to come back in.
The same day?
Same day.
Wow. And you did?
And I did. I literally had to change clothes like Superman real quick.
Sure.
And rush back there and answered some more questions for him and left. By the time...
The questions were what? Just more specific? Or were they kind of feeling you out as far as the compatibility of you as their manager?
There were a lot of compatibility questions. I
Yeah.
think because honestly, I was the first interview. There was more conversation-based dialogue between myself and the council, which is great, right? But I think they went a little long. They didn't get all the information that they wanted. So,
It's always been said, do you prefer, should you prefer as a job applicant to be the first to be interviewed in a series of people being interviewed, or the last to be interviewed from a series to be interviewed? Because you apparently, being the first, set a very positive impression, and you set the foundation, subtle as it may be, of other candidates being compared to you. On the other hand, if you're the last to be interviewed, you can come in with a 100-piece orchestra and just boom, wow, and just top it off. So I think being the first also, and you also wonder, why were you listed as the first? Somebody made a decision looking at your application or your resume and so forth. This Dave really looks like he just may be it. I think I'm going to put him number one. It's usually the city clerk or...
yeah, honestly, I don't think that I was going into the interview their number one choice.
Nobody ever told you that.
No, they did.
And you need not ask.
Yeah.
Mary Esther, you have a question. This is Bill Krause, the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having a delightful visit with Dave.
When it comes to your child's health,
You want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo.
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you.
Every step of the way.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
This is Bill Prowse returning on the WGNS Radio Roundtable Thursday morning edition. And we are having a delightful visit with the, I was going to say, new town manager, but you started officially October 14th, 2024, Mr. Dave Santucci. Your first day on the job, you met with the staff. Kind of give us your first impressions. Although, had you done fairly significant research on who, what, where, why, and when before you began?
Yeah, I sure did. And I'd say, like, first day, first couple weeks on the job, just trying to feel everybody out. And at the same time, everyone's trying to feel you out.
Absolutely.
Who is this guy?
Looks like a country western singer. No. Sorry about that. And was it difficult to learn how Smyrna is more than just Old Town off Highway 41 or New Town on Sam Ridley or even a lakefront town east? I mean, if you really travel throughout Smyrna, it's really a community threesome, I guess I would put it. Maybe even more.
And it is all three of those things.
Yes.
Right? The best thing about Smyrna for me was the closeness of the community.
Yes.
To me, that's important. If you don't feel that, where especially in my role, if you don't feel that, it's real hard to feel vested, and it's real hard to be motivated to make positive change, and not only positive change, but to maintain the stability of the great things that are there. So. That's the first thing that I noticed after being there for a little while is that, it is a town. It'll never not be a town.
Right.
And that's intentional.
But I used to use this expression probably almost every city I was associated with, but I can't think of a town that it is more applicable. Proud of its past, confident of its future. And you look at the history, and I've got to get HG back on to go into more detail of the history. I mean, the Air Force Base, and certainly what that has generated over the years. And you take a look at the Old Town, and the town of Smyrna is to be highly, highly, highly complimented on the preservation of the Old Town along the railroad tracks. You take a look at the new development. And one of the nice things about Smyrna, which many communities cannot include themselves on, you provide a quality of development. Not just density, and density certainly plays a role, but the quality of your new shopping center, the quality of the multi-level residential development in and around Motlow State, the quality of development of new homes, etc. And even though you go west of the I-24 interstate, just the quality there. And, you were so fortunate to have been allied with, quote, a phenomenal community. If you had a magic wand, Dave, you had a magic wand to set into motion, which as a manager, you generally have long-term goals, long-term dreams, let's put it, long-term images of what Smyrna should be. What are some of those goals? Well, if you had a magic wand to, quote, work Smyrna up toward his 2030, 2035 year projection, what would it be?
Well, there's a few things there. And really with some of the quality commercial development that's coming on board, we're starting to see an interest from others who are going, hey, wow, Smyrna has something to offer, and we need to be in Smyrna. So I really think with the Seward's Landing project and capitalizing on some of the great amenities that we have along Sam Ridley, you're going to start to see a lot more of that. So from that commercial aspect, I think we're going to start seeing more of that and a lot more interest in, I'd say higher end commercial retail restaurant. Which is fantastic. You talked a little bit about the air base. We have the Army National Guard moving their operations from B&A.
That's a big move.
Yeah.
Big move.
And right behind them, it's not inked yet, but the Air National Guard is going to be moving their operations from B&A to the Smyrna Airport. That's going to be huge for us.
Yes, it will.
And not only is it huge for us from an economic development perspective, and just having a military presence in Smyrna again, for me personally as a Marine is pretty cool. But it's also, I think, bringing back life into what it used to be.
Yes, but the interesting thing, and of all the public officials, both elected and appointed, that we have visit us throughout the year on the Roundtable. One of the most important things is Rutherford County had always been a suburban county that fed into Nashville. And people would have to go to Nashville to eat, to entertain, to buy, to shop, etc. But Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, and Smyrna are rapidly becoming self-contained communities. And you don't have to go on the I-24 bumper, start, stop, and so forth, and do where you have to go. I mean, you look at Smyrna, and I think, for example, the restaurants, and you've got a lot of the fast foods that make it convenient, but you also have some very good restaurants. One of my favorite in Smyrna is a Japanese restaurant. I love Japanese food, so that becomes very much of an attraction. Do you see Smyrna maintaining a balance between a home community of residential, a commercial community of shopping availability, and an employer community where jobs are available?
I do. In fact, I think that the council has really done an excellent job of being intentional with the development that they allow in. And so, in fact, right now we are revising our comprehensive plan. So, and not a lot of people understand what a comprehensive plan, but really what that is, it is the master planning document from now until 2045.
Wow.
That helps shape what Smyrna will be and how we're going to move forward. And right now we've got a survey out that we're hoping that we can get a lot of participation in from the community, because it's really important that their voices are heard and that we get their input of what they want their community to be.
What do you want it to be?
Yeah, so
you're a resident. You've got not only time invested, you have a profession invested, and you have a family life invested.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, and I say this from a resident perspective and also a town manager perspective, public safety is number one.
Yes.
If you don't have that, then you're really behind the eight ball. Just this year alone, we've added 7 new positions within our police department. So maintaining public safety is really important. We're seeing crime go down, which is excellent.
Yep.
We're starting to branch off into some special operations, traffic enforcement, crime suppression units, and things of that nature, which is tremendous. And it's really just, that's the natural progression of a police department in a growing community of our size. So public safety, maintaining that, park space, we have over 800 acres of park.
That's
making sure
amazing.
that we have that quality recreational experience for our folks. And there are things that the community wants to see. They want to see an amphitheater. They'd love to see an indoor facility. Some of those things are on the horizon. We know we're going to see an amphitheater as part of the Seward's Landing project. What I really want Smyrna to be at the end of the day is a livable community. I'd like to see more walkability. We're doing those things right now. We've got several sidewalk projects going on. Coming from the South Florida area, that infrastructure is already in place. And so coming here, I see some of the things that could, the low-hanging fruit that we can make this a more livable, walkable, enjoyable community where you can just stay here. And that's, I think, where we're headed. I think that the development that's occurring out west is going to be is great, but it also comes with challenges.
Yep.
Roadway projects are something that are paramount for the council. Funding, unfortunately, just is very difficult, and that's just not a town of Smyrna thing. That is a national thing. And even when you look at TDOT, they are very transparent in saying that we do not have a fraction of the dollars we need in order to meet the demand. And so that's going to be a challenge, but just keeping a focus on traffic management. We're not going to solve traffic issues.
Mm-hmm.
More people, more cars on the road. But doing projects that are going to help us manage traffic in a responsible way, in a fiscally responsible way, is something that I think we need to do. And so, doing those roadway projects, we're including things like bike lanes where they're appropriate and sidewalks where they're appropriate, is really what I hope to see in the future.
Most people do not realize why there is an increasing deficit on monies available for roadways and the demand for widening, improving, expanding the roadway system. When gas tax was very much in its early stages, the average car got maybe 8 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
So the amount of gas consumption generated gas tax based upon an 8 mile per gallon consumption. You take a look at gas mileage today, both in terms of the standard gas driven or the hybrid or the non-gas driven, and the amount of contribution per mile has dropped dramatically on the part of the car, and yet the demand for increased public facilities and roadways based upon the volume has increased dramatically. So it becomes a ever widening situation, and I'm not quite sure what the answer is unless you look for another source like increased license fees. I know in California what you were paying, and it was an interesting structure. You bought a new car, paid maybe $35,000-$40,000 for it, and your license was based on the value of the car your first year. And every year the car became a year older, your license reduced amount of the money. So I think it ultimately hit a base level when you had the car or the car was 7-8 years old. We may have to look at things like that. You hate to talk about increased taxes, but you do need service. I've got to take a moment to highly compliment Smyrna on its public safety services. And while I haven't had experiences being stopped by the Smyrna police, I have had feedback, significant feedback, a lot of it from students at Motlow, who really compliment the outreach personality of the police officer in Smyrna, or the responsiveness of the firefighter, the emergency responder in Smyrna. So whatever has been done, or your selection process, or your training process, or your motivation process, you can be very, very proud of public safety.
Thank you.
Were you here? Oh, you must have been here when the Blue Angels were here last.
Yes.
How did you like that? Besides the public safety responsibility.
I absolutely enjoyed that experience immensely. I actually fell in love with aviation going to an air show at Homestead Air Force Base in Miami when I was a young kid. In fact, one of my aspirations was to become a pilot.
So Air Force was a consideration versus Marines, or you were just a Marine, full and fast?
There was no other choice for me.
Not even Marine Air?
Well, I think when I took the ASVAB, I didn't rate high enough, and I went in and enlisted, remember, too. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's next year the Angels will be back?
We won't have them this summer. We will
27?
have the air show next summer.
2027.
Whether or not we'll have the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds or another outfit, we don't know yet. We always, welcome either one of them.
Whoever it may be.
But we obviously have a very special connection with the Blue Angels.
Well, the loss of the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's usually, that's too bad you couldn't have it this year because of the 250th birthday of the country.
Well, not only that, the 10-year anniversary of the unfortunate passing of Captain Jeff Coos.
Has it been 10 years?
Yeah, was June 2nd. And we've just released, in fact, this week, a documentary about that.
Is the town still in contact with the family?
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Wow. Very emotional. Certainly one of the key historical points of the town of Smyrna. One of the things, and you talked about your due diligence and looked at, and I know whenever I was considering or being considered for a new community, probably one of the first statistics that I would look at, what was the voting turnout? And, I'm not sure what it currently is, but the voting turnout in a local election for the town of Smyrna, the higher it is, the more you know you have participatory involvement by the citizens.
Yep.
And I think it's very great. We will be right back after this very special series of messages by our sponsors.
When it comes to your child's health,
You want care that's close, convenient.
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
Here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo,
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you.
Every step of the way.
Well, yeah, I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we've had a delightful visit with the town manager of the town of Smyrna, Mr. Dave Santucci. I want to do a call out or a toss out to your wonderful mayor, Mary Esther Reed. not to be related to the killer Reed we talked about earlier. Do you want to do a shout out to not just to Mayor Reed, but to your entire members of the town council?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be meeting tonight, actually. We have our workshop, but
On budget?
budget will be on the agenda
Great.
for our second read. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, just want to let everybody know that that council right there, and I've been around many. Yeah, they are a special group.
They really are. I don't know all of them, but those I know, I'm very impressed. Not only as a former city manager, but I'm very impressed as an individual and an activist in the Rutherford County area. You can be very proud of them. Talk briefly. We just talked off the air with the big win for Smyrna.
Yeah. Yes. Stewart's Creek. They had a softball tournament, and they made it to the state championship. They won. I believe they didn't have to go to 7 innings.
Wow.
They topped out in the 5th inning, and luckily they were able to call it because it was really late. They had to dance around the rain all day Saturday, but huge victory for them. That's the first time that team has won a state championship, and as we just learned, it's the first ball sport that school has had a state championship as well. So this is fantastic news, and I'm sure they're all celebrating.
You're going to have the team come before a town council meeting?
We haven't talked about that yet, but not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Try to get some teenagers to come to a council meeting outside of their summer break, though. We'll see.
Well, if the city's budget is halfway decent, pizza
sure
would be a nice inclusion.
Feed them and they will come, right?
Town council might enjoy a piece of pizza too. Mary Beth, wherever you are, pizza. And you have plans for the expansion of your facility where they play ball?
Yes, we host tournaments out at Cedarstone all the time. Right now, we got 4 diamonds out there, but we're going to basically double the capacity, the field capacity, in the coming years. We think about 28, 29, that project will be completed, and we'll expand the offerings, not just for Smyrna, but for Rutherford County to host tournaments.
And you said earlier, 800 acres roughly devoted to park and recreational facilities.
Yes.
That's got to be a very high ratio to population.
It is.
Yeah, you should be very high on the ratio. One of the areas, and I loved my time as city manager, loved the time, but there were always some principles that we really had to consider. And one of the considerations was the elected official thought of 4 years or less as the future, and the city manager had to think of 20 years as the budget, because you build a tennis court. Public may love the tennis court the first 4 years, but the city manager has to think of night light costs, asphalt replacement costs, net replacement costs, depreciation, and so forth. Would you say that's a fair figure? You think long term, and nothing wrong with the council thinking short term. In fact, it's the basis of American politics and government that it allows the public to be reviewing and participating in an ongoing, quote, change of policy.
Generally speaking, you're correct, but and I'm not trying to toot my council's horn on this, but they do really think long-term and strategic, and that's really helpful as a manager.
Absolutely. I always love to tell the story. You're going to certainly relate to it. I had for a long period of time, still in California, 2 council members who had been on the council a long time, and they were good friends off the council meetings, but they never agreed when they were sitting at the council table. And I always wondered about them, and I always remember taking the 2 out to lunch, and we had a table for 4, and I asked them to change seats where they were. And I ultimately determined that both had hearing problems, one in the left ear of one council member, one in the right ear of another council member, and they had the mistake of sitting next to each other where the bad ears were facing each other. So I always remember asking them in the next council meeting, would they change seats? And from then on, they were the best of working council members because they could hear each other.
Isn't that
and
something?
you begin, maybe people who are elected should have a hearing test prior to being sworn into office. You have been, just a tremendous visitor for us, and I'm going to put it on my schedule to have you back about every 3 or 4 months and give you the updates. What would be some of the highlights you'd like to share at this point forthcoming in Smyrna? And I know we could probably go a half hour on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about so many great things happening
the air
already.
show, of course.
The air show, the expansion of the airport. We've talked about some of the development projects that are occurring, the passing of the budget that's coming up.
Is AI playing a role in your considerations? Everybody asks the question.
Absolutely.
In policing or in finance or in probably all aspects?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I really try to get folks to embrace and not to, to me, it's not about making, in a growing community where you know that you're going to need more employees.
Sure.
Right? This isn't about replacing employees. This is
Right.
about getting people to work more efficient and smarter so that we can do more with less.
Does it tell you what kind of employee to recruit, what kind of employee to hire as a result of the interview and selection process? Does it tell you, quote, here's the ideal employee? I will tell you this, and I generally have made impressions. First impressions, I judge people. And I've got to tell you, you are truly an outstanding representative of the city management profession.
Thank you.
And I'm saying that not as a compliment, I'm saying that as an observation. You have the combination of a phenomenal persona that can make anybody an issue. A lot of what you deal with are people who are angry, people who are in trouble, people who you've had a notice violation, people you've had to use the word no to on a special request. And I would imagine in your people-to-people practice, you are 110%. And I really compliment. Do you have a way to say no to people and they appreciate you saying no?
I do, and honestly, I tell this to every single employee that I do new hire orientation to. I tell them that customer service in local government is hard.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we got to tell people something that they don't want to hear.
Exactly.
But the best thing that we can do is tell them why.
Correct.
So that's something I try to instill in everybody. I use that, and I may not be able to do A, but here's what we can do, and that's
Perfect.
That's the important thing.
Oh, identical to what I did. I would start every sentence with every person who has an issue or problem, and I would say, I cannot guarantee that I will have an answer that will make you happy. I can guarantee you that I will make every effort to investigate the answer, and if it works, we all are happy. If it doesn't work, please be mindful that we made the effort to try.
Yep.
And if people realize you're trying to solve an effort, what's your total number of employees right now in the town of Smyrna?
We have over 500 employees.
Really? So does that make you the largest employer within the city limits?
Oh, no. No, you got Nissan.
Oh,
you've got Taylor. You got Taylor Farms. You've got.
How can I forget Nissan?
Oh yeah, we've got some big industry employers.
So
around
what's
us.
the linkage and relationship between the town and Nissan?
It's strong. We partner with them on several different initiatives. They support the community immensely through various projects that we really don't see all the time. Habitat for Humanity builds and the like of that. And then, of course, they really support the community with all the businesses that have to support them.
Oh, absolutely.
So
there used to be, is before your time, and some of the people who've lived in this area a long time, one of our favorite restaurants was the Hawaiian restaurant.
Omni Hut.
Was it closed before you got here?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, it was since 1946, I think it went into business and so forth. And please comment for a moment or two on the close relationships you have with your neighboring municipalities and your county of Rutherford.
Sure. We collaborate on several different initiatives, but I think the partnerships need to get stronger because with the growth, the coordination is very, very important. And while we have great relationships with, elected official to elected official and city manager to city manager, there's a lot that goes into the coordination, but at the same time, we all, I think, respect each other's lanes.
Sure. Well, especially your mutual aid in public safety. And heaven forbid we had something huge in Rutherford County. Each municipality or the county could look without any reservation to the great support that the neighboring agencies would be able to provide. A great, great opportunity. If you were predicting Smyrna 10 years from today, could you predict it? And population would probably be the easiest.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about earlier, I really think that this community is going to become more self-sustaining, and it's going to have the amenities that not only the current residents but future residents are going to be looking for.
Great. I have to ask you this last question before Brian makes his way in. Nashville, in my opinion, has kind of changed its nature by looking at a typical residential home, residential lot, 60 feet wide, 110 feet in depth, and the house is removed and 10 condo units are placed on the property. Do you see the replacement of low-density single-family to much higher density multiple housing to be a challenge, an issue, possibility, or rejection in Smyrna?
It is a challenge. There are situations where high density makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that preserving communities is very important.
Well, you take a look at the value. When you think of some of the single-family residences that have been here 30, 40, 50 years and what people paid for them at time of newness and what they're worth right now, I guess I would probably say one of the solutions to the housing crisis is if more adult grandparents would look at the equity of their property and attempt to share that equity with their children as a major down payment on affordable housing. I think the amount of money we have in housing equity in the country more than compensates for housing costs for the younger purchaser.
With 3 small children, I think about that all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Dave Santucci, town manager of Smyrna since October 2024. We have thoroughly enjoyed having you with us.
And I've enjoyed talking to you.
A great visit. Mary Esther, wherever you are, you have a great day. We missed you, but you have a responsibility to get back. Not a responsibility. You have an invitation, open invitation, to always be back at WGNS and talk about the beautiful, beautiful city, town of Smyrna. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, actually, with a member of the City Council of Murfreesboro, Jamie, who just, we had Jamie and Mary Esther and Marilyn, 3 ladies on the program, about 6 months ago. They were phenomenal. You're all phenomenal. Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, Eagleville, you are very fortunate to have who's on your municipal elected official list and who's staffing and managing your communities. Keep up the great work. My best wishes to you.